targeting Terry McLaurin. Brew, this is one of your favorite graphics that we debuted a few weeks ago that you then lambasted me for. When he was targeting Terry, completed 66% of his passes, had almost 1,200 yards, 15 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions with a passer rating of 128. Well, Josh took it as a personal affront and decided to make the graphic that you were waiting for. Here's by target for Jaden.
Okay, that puts it in context.
9.2 yards for Terry. Everybody else under 7.
That's
15
important.
and 2 to Terry, 15 and 8 for everybody else. Passer rating 128 when targeting everybody else, a little bit below 92.
That sounds like something his agent would show in the negotiation.
You know what? I actually think it's fair. Like, if you want to view me as just Terry McLaurin in a vacuum, or am I part of the team's success and your star quarterback success? So your reaction to the trade request?
They're not trading him. They can't trade him.
You don't think so?
No way. No.
Oh.
First of all, as you saw from the graphic, he's clearly your best receiver. We all knew that. Coach, he's also the deep ball. He's one of the best deep ball receivers in the league, and I think that's where Jaden, he was a great deep ball thrower at LSU. Last year was fine. They obviously had some huge moments, the Hail Mary and stuff, but he can get better at that, but not without Terry McLaurin. So I think that there's no way they're trading him. First of all, how are you going to find a team that's willing to give up whatever you have to give up to get him, and then pay him $34 million what he wants on top of
drive right
that?
up I-95 if you want to, and then get off at Providence.
All right. But I think they have no desire to trade him, nor should they. He's too important to their team. And so I think this is just negotiable.
Washington's in a little bit different spot than Dallas is in. So they go to the NFC Championship game. They've got the young quarterback. They go out this offseason. They get Tunsil. They get Debo. Yep. They draft a tackle #1 overall. They're obviously trying to solidify the offense and the offensive weapons around Jaden. So there's that component of it. And I'm sure organizationally where they're frustrated or concerned is Terry's going to be 30 in September. So he's got an older receiver, and typically the older receivers don't get the same amount of money as the younger guys. And again, when you're looking at comps, you could make an argument that Terry deserves the top end, and they can make an argument that older receivers don't necessarily get the top end. To me, this is going to have to be resolved maybe as a patch, as opposed to a long-term deal or this being his final deal. It's one of those, hey, we'll up $5 million or $6, some number where he's happy to play for that number this season,
and then hit,
knowing that he can go get another bite of the apple next year and be completely free. And that to me seems like the best way to solve this short term. And then Washington can move on next year and go find their answer.
Yeah, the problem is like that typically doesn't always work out great for the player. So he gets like an additional $5 million this year or something. Okay, so he gets like $25 million, I think is what it would end up being, which is still significantly lower than he wants. As well as he then now has to be a free agent at 31, going to a different team, and then hoping that he's now going to get some prominent 3-year 3, 4, whatever, you settle on. Whereas right now he kind of is like, I'm a great receiver right now. I'm eligible to get a longer contract and higher money, obviously. So give it to me now, right? Like, you're making me kick this can down the road. So you might give me a little bit more money in the short term right now, but you're still taking away my ability to get more money or to maximize my money in the long term. And so it's a tough situation. It all depends on really what both parties are willing to do. Like that's the unfun answer, honestly, where it's just like, would the Commanders actually be willing to either trade him or say, no, you're under contract, you're playing here. If you want to sit out and be that person, fine, but we're not budging. Like, it all depends on who's really firm. And same thing with Terry McLaurin. It's just like, if he's like, I am 100% not stepping foot on this field right now, trade me right now. I'm not playing for $26 million this year. I'm not playing for $30 million in year, for this final year. I want a long-term contract with legitimate money, or get me out. Like, And we don't know. We don't know how firm either parties are right now. And they might not even know, because they're not probably even really sure of like what they're willing to do, and even if they have reached a conclusion of what they're willing to do, what the other side could do to now change that. Like, you know, everything's always fluid and flexible to a degree. So this definitely spiraled way more than it needed to, and quite frankly should have. And listen, I talked about this in a previous video. Like, when you're the number one wide receiver, and clearly a great wide receiver, you're pretty much always going to have better numbers than the rest of your receivers on the team. Like, you're the wide receiver one for a reason. That means you're the best receiver on the team. So your passer rating and the touchdown interception ratio and the yards per pass should always be higher. You could do a graphic like this for essentially every single team. Okay, I mean, it's all going to be different variations, and you know, depends on the, you know, how many other great wide receivers you have. But like, what this can show is that, you know, at the end of the day, it can show how much weight or how much offense production, how much the team really heavily relies on one individual player. But you're always going to see higher numbers. I mean, you could, if you put in another wide receiver one who's not as great as Terry McLaurin, they should most definitely have more yards per pass, a higher passer rating, a better touchdown to interception ratio than the rest of the team. I mean, like, that's just how it typically will go. Again, the only time that typically won't happen is if you have two great wide receivers. Like, if you really do have an awesome 1-2 punch in your receiving game, like a Jamar Chase, T. Higgins type of situation where that gap's going to be closed a lot more. Or you have an awesome wide receiver and a special tight end, and the way how your offense is run is it's very tight end forward, kind of like the Chiefs and, you know, obviously Tom Brady in the past and whatnot. So like, that's just, there of course there could be other factors, but I fear that when we just look at something like this on the surface, it's just like, oh gosh, Terry McLaurin is just that special and everyone else is just that pedestrian, and it's like, that's not 100% accurate. But Terry McLaurin's great, and I love Terry McLaurin, and I'm, you know, saying that the Commanders 100% needed to handle this way better and smoother. But the one thing that also really annoyed me, and I was going to turn it into a separate clip, but I didn't even watch the clip because, like, I didn't even want to. But I saw on ESPN there was like a title of the video where it was like, should Jaden Daniels speak up for Terry McLaurin? And that just really made me angry. I mean, it genuinely made me angry. And like I said, I didn't even watch the video, because I don't even care what the answer is, because I resent the question. Like, it's an absurd question to even throw in to the, you know, into the fire for Jaden Daniels. Like, first off, it's not Jaden's responsibility in year 2 to talk about, to pull any levers. It makes no sense. And Jaden Daniels doesn't even fully understand what he needs to be great in the NFL. And he shouldn't. He's played 1 year there. 1 year there. And yeah, he's amazing. He's special. He's elite. I think he's going to be awesome. I think he's going to take over the NFL. Like, he is him to me. So you guys know that. But, like, he is still learning. He is still growing. He is still young. He is still evolving. He's still finding his own voice, his own place in the NFL, and he is still learning what exactly he needs. So having Jaden speak out or something, that is just kind of absurd. I mean, like, and it's just not, it wouldn't be right to even put any pressure on him to do that, or to even give him the idea that he should do that. Like, it's just, the whole conversation around that just really irked me big time. That a year 2 player for the Commanders should be speaking up on behalf of someone who's been in the NFL 4 years right now, who's played for that team longer than, you know, even Jaden Daniels has, obviously. And so it's just like, it didn't make any sense to me. I mean, I understand when you're year 3, 4, 5, 6 and beyond, like, okay, like, now we're talking, and now you can start to trust what a player, you know, even a player's opinion, because I don't even know how much I would even 100% trust a player's opinion that early on. You would take it into consideration, of course, but like, they still need to figure this out here. And you know, it's just when I saw that, I was just like, oh my gosh, what are we saying right now? Like, what we're trying to get Jaden Daniels involved right now in Terry McLaurin's contract dispute. You know, after him having one season in the NFL, his rookie year, like, it was absurd to me, honestly. But yeah, it is a shame with the Commanders because they have obviously had such a successful season, and this offseason they slowly started to be talked about a little bit more. I still think completely under discussed. Like, we're continuing the trend where we still talk about the Chicago Bears way more than the Washington Commanders, and even what's going wrong at this point. There's more content about, even though this is exactly what happened last year, where it was like there was more content about what's going wrong with Caleb and the Bears than what's going right with the Commanders. We're continuing that exact trend even in the offseason, where it's just like we hear more reports about what's going wrong with Caleb and Ben Johnson, et cetera, than the Washington Commanders. And now that the Washington Commanders have some of this issues with Terry McLaurin, it's like, okay, well, let's talk about it now. And it's like, it's like, right, it was like the main stories that people were discussing was Debo out of shape and Terry McLaurin doesn't want, you know, is having a dispute now with the Commanders. And it's like, you know, like those are not the things that you want to hear from. So yeah, I'm a firm believer in continuity. I think the Commanders would still be fine. They would still be successful. They will not be as great if they don't have Terry McLaurin there. I think that much would be very obvious. And like I said in my video that I had posted the other day when this was first announced, when he formally requested a trade, is that the whole point of getting Debo was to enhance the offense and not have kind of like a replacement. And the whole key here is to grow and evolve, not just tinker and change. So it's just like it wouldn't be enough to be able to take that big step forward, even if Jaden Daniels takes another big step takes a big step forward. So it's frustrating. If you're a Commanders fan, like it totally makes sense to be frustrated watching all of this unfold, because it just shouldn't be this way unless Terry McLaurin is really, really being irrational. But it's just, we're not really hearing any real reports about what he wants and what he's asking for. And I'm always hesitant then to speak too confidently from that side. I feel more comfortable when there's reporting from people, from sources that I legitimately trust and we can take to the bank. And then kind of go from there. But like, I'm personally not really hearing that from the people that I normally look to for that information. And so any of the other random reports that you could hear, I have no idea if they're real or not. And I always try, you know, once we start speculating about other stuff that we don't have the real information or that we personally can't observe, I really try my best to only rely on sources that I believe that there's actually a high degree of accuracy, which is interesting because when I was first talking about this, some people were like, oh, this is nonsense, this is not a real story, people are just talking about this because there's nothing else to talk about in the summer. And I was just like, no, like, this is real. There's like, it's being reported by the people whose very job it is to be accurate. Their job is to not entertain. Their job is to not just come up with stories. Their job is to be accurate. And if they're not accurate, if they're not honest, then they will not be able to continue to have their own livelihood, right? Like, Adam Schefter can't just make up stories just for content for ESPN. Like, everything collapses. Albert Breer, like plenty of other guys out there, like it matters, you know, like you will sever relationships. And so that's why I always try my best to just rely on the reports from like actual trusted, long-standing relationships within the NFL to go off of. Yeah, this is just messy, man. Way messier than I think it needed to be. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Terry McLaurin and the Washington Commanders? What do you think they should do moving forward right now? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.